Shalom to everyone that is listening to me right about now. And God bless those that have been consistent with these words, those that have been sharing the words, and those that have been encouraging others and praying for others. Some of you do not know that by you doing that, you are also helping yourself. You see, there is power in prayer. The Bible says it clear that the Lord restored Job's losses when he prayed for his friends. Do you know restoration can come to you if you only pray for others? So you see, it's not all about you. Sometimes it is not just about you, but it's about those that are around you. Do you know that the friends of Job, it seemed like they had come to encourage him, and yet their mission was to discourage him. They began accusing him of things that he did not do. They went ahead to say that he had sinned against God, that the reason as to why he was struggling, it was because of sin. And yet Job was going under a test. Job was being tested to the extent that even his dear wife told him to curse God and die. I don't know what kind of wife is that. What kind of wife will tell you to curse God and die? What kind of wife will wish death to the husband? See, there are so many people that are so diabolic. You are living with a monster, thinking that it's really a person. You see, Job had open doors in his life. His wife was an open door. And the enemy was using his wife. So it is always important to pray for one another. Pray for them. And prayer is also always important. I've always said this over and over again, that a prayerless Christian is a very powerless Christian. A prayerless Christian is a powerless Christian. Very powerless. Jesus one day finds his disciples sleeping. He had gone up to pray. You see, Jesus always loved solitude. He always loved praying alone. So he finds his disciples sleeping at night. He wakes them up. He tells them, couldn't you watch and pray with me for at least an hour? Can you imagine? The minimum requirement for prayer, according to Jesus, was 1 hour. Jesus required his disciples to pray with him for at least an hour. Some people, you only pray for 2 minutes and that is it. And you wonder why your prayers are not working. You pray, yes, every day. You pray, yes, when you like it, but you pray for 5 minutes, 20 minutes, and that is it. And you think you will find results. And you think you'll be on the same level. Do you know witches also pray? Do you know that also witches fast? Oh, witches pray. And they fast. But you find Christians that are unserious. They are unserious in everything they do. There's a time when Jesus' disciples could not even cast out a demon. They could not cast out a demon. They came to him, they said, Rabbi. Rabbi means teacher. They said, Rabbi, why couldn't this demon leave? Jesus turned to them and said, some things can only go by prayer and fasting. Maybe you're prayed over that situation. It is not leaving. Why not add fasting to it? He was trying to deal with unbelief. It can only go by prayer and fasting, through prayer and fasting. And Jesus taught his disciples how to pray. Why? The disciples of John were effective in their prayer. So when the disciples of Jesus saw the disciples of John who could pray, they came to him and said, Master, teach us how to pray. And he taught them how to pray. Remember, prayer can be taught. Prayer can be taught. Jesus taught it. Actually, it is called the disciples' prayer. You see, some people will refer to it as the Lord's Prayer. Some of you were taught in school or in churches that it is the Lord's Prayer. It is the disciples' prayer. If you go to the original manuscript, it says it is the disciples' prayer. Jesus teaching his disciples how to pray. When you pray, pray in this manner. All right, let us read today's word. It is from the book of Luke, chapter 18, verse 1 to 8. Luke chapter 18, verse 1 to 8, it reads, Then he spoke a parable to them, that men always ought to pray and not lose heart, saying, There was in a certain city a judge who did not fear God, nor regard man. Now there was a widow in that city, and she came to him, saying, Get justice for me from my adversary. And he would not for a while. But afterward he said within himself, Though I do not fear God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubles me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. Then the Lord said, Hear what the unjust judge said. And shall God not avenge his own elect, who cry out day and night to him? Though he bears long with them, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he really find faith on earth? My God. Jesus says, when the Son of Man comes, when the Son of Man comes, will he really find faith on earth? That means as we are drawing closer to these days, the last days I'm speaking of, people are going to become faithless. Men are going to be lovers of themselves. Men will be lovers of achievements. People will be lovers of material things. These days you find young girls who, when they buy an iPhone, they go in front of the mirror and take videos. Why? They're trying to tell you, hey, look at what I've got. They're trying to glorify material things. All these things will pass. They are of no use. I used to be a lover of iPhones. Actually, my first iPhone was in 2012. That was my first iPhone. But I'm not saying iPhones are bad. But do not glorify these things. Now, let us go back to the word. Jesus speaks of a parable of the persistent widow. She was a widow, no kid. Or maybe she had kids, but she didn't have a husband. That is actually what it means. And the Bible says it was a parable. And Jesus said to them, men ought to pray and not lose heart. Some translations will say, men ought to pray and not faint. It means you are supposed to pray. It goes back to the aspect of prayer. Pray at all times. To cut the long story short, this widow wanted justice. She wanted justice. And there was a judge. The judge was so wicked. He was unjust. This widow came on troubling the judge to get justice. But the judge would not. One day, the judge gave justice to the widow. Listen, if the unjust judge can render justice, why not God? God will do it for you. Hope this word has blessed you. Should continue praying. Shalom.